What just happened at General Motors is reshaping the future of autonomous vehicles. And it's not what anyone expected. Billions of dollars, years of innovation, and a vision for the future have come crashing down, leaving the entire industry scrambling. How did it go so wrong? General Motors, once at the forefront of the self-driving car revolution, has made the shocking decision to shut down its biggest project, which was hailed as a cornerstone of the future, pouring over $10 billion into the venture. But mounting financial losses, regulatory roadblocks, and safety controversies have pushed the automaker to the edge, leaving behind a trail of disappointed investors and unanswered questions. Why did General Motors pull the plug on what was supposed to be a $50 billion opportunity? How will this impact the race for autonomous dominance with competitors like Tesla? And most importantly, what does this mean for the future of driving as we know it? And for you, stick around because the answers might just surprise you. What's happening? In 2016, General Motors made headlines with a bold move that promised to redefine the automotive industry. The company acquired Cruise Automation, a small startup with fewer than 50 employees, for an eye-popping $1 billion. At the time, it seemed like a stroke of genius. Cruise was heralded as the future of autonomous driving, and General Motors, a century-old titan, was poised to claim a commanding lead in the self-driving car race. The plan was ambitious. Pair Cruise's cutting-edge software with GM's manufacturing expertise to deliver a fleet of autonomous vehicles that would revolutionize mobility. Cruise wasn't just another acquisition, it was the cornerstone of GM's future vision. At the helm of Cruise was co-founder Kyle Vogt, a Silicon Valley prodigy also known for co-founding Twitch. Alongside him was GM President Dan Ammann, who later became Cruise's CEO. Both were brimming with optimism. They envisioned a world where self-driving cars would be safer, more efficient, and more accessible, ushering in a new era of transportation. It wasn't just about technology, it was about transforming how people moved. But behind the glossy press releases and lofty ambitions, cracks were already forming. While the acquisition promised great things, it also came with enormous challenges. General Motors was venturing into uncharted territory, and the stakes were higher than ever. The question was, could they deliver on the promise of autonomy, or were they setting themselves up for a fall? Cracks begin to show. Fast forward to the late 2010s, and the shine of Cruise's promise began to dull. While competitors like Tesla and Google's Waymo were making steady progress, Cruise struggled to keep up. By 2021, the company's operational hurdles were becoming impossible to ignore. Reports of mounting financial losses painted a bleak picture. Billions of dollars were pouring into Cruise, yet tangible results remained elusive. The real blow came with a series of high-profile safety incidents. In one particularly damning case, a Cruise vehicle in San Francisco struck a pedestrian. The vehicle failed to respond appropriately, leading to widespread public outrage and regulatory scrutiny. This incident wasn't just a PR disaster, it was a direct challenge to Cruise's claim of safety superiority. California regulators swiftly suspended Cruise's license, and the company's reputation took a nosedive. Compounding the issue was growing skepticism from investors. While General Motors had positioned Cruise as a key growth driver, the numbers told a different story. In 2023 alone, Cruise reported losses of over $348 billion. These weren't just growing pains, they were signs of a deeper structural issue. The ambitious dream of a self-driving fleet was starting to look more like a money pit, leadership chaos. As Cruise faltered, tensions within General Motors reached a boiling point. At the center of this turmoil was Dan Ammann, who had transitioned from GM president to Cruise CEO. Ammann had big plans for Cruise, including taking the company public through an initial public offering. He believed this move would attract top talent and accelerate innovation, but GM CEO Mary Barra had other ideas. Barra wanted to keep Cruise under GM's corporate umbrella, ensuring it remained a strategic asset rather than an independent entity. The power struggle came to a head in December 2021 when Ammann was abruptly fired. His departure sent shockwaves through the company, signaling a leadership vacuum at a critical juncture. Kyle Vogt stepped in as interim CEO and later assumed the role permanently. But Vogt's tenure was marked by continued challenges, including regulatory battles and mounting public distrust. By 2023, even Vogt couldn't weather the storm. He stepped down amidst a cascade of controversies, leaving Cruise without a steady hand at the wheel. Leadership instability became yet another obstacle for a company already struggling to find its footing. Pulling the plug. The final chapter in Cruise's saga came in December of 2024, when General Motors made the stunning decision to abandon its robotaxi ambitions entirely. The announcement marked the end of an 8-year experiment that had cost GM over $10 billion. While the move will save the company $1 billion annually, it also represents a massive missed opportunity. Analysts had once projected that Cruise's robo-taxi business could generate $50 billion in annual revenue by 2030. For GM, the decision was framed as a strategic pivot. The company plans to integrate Cruise's technology into its broader advanced driver assistance systems, or ADAS, rather than pursuing full autonomy. But to many, this felt like a retreat, a sign that GM was conceding defeat in a race it had once hoped to win. The fallout from this decision is only beginning to unfold. Investors are questioning GM's leadership, employees are facing an uncertain future, and the automotive industry is grappling with what this means for the future of autonomy. What was once a beacon of innovation has become a cautionary tale, leaving the world to wonder, where does General Motors go from here? Billions down the drain. When General Motors acquired Cruise Automation in 2016, it was hailed as a billion-dollar gamble with enormous potential. Yet, as the years went by, that gamble began to look more like financial quicksand. By 2023, General Motors had sunk over $10 billion into Cruise, a staggering sum that failed to yield the anticipated results. Instead of positioning the automaker as a trailblazer in self-driving technology, the investment turned into a fiscal nightmare. The financial numbers paint a grim picture. In just 1 year, 2023, Cruise posted losses of over $3 billion, a figure that would make even the most bullish investors flinch. To put that into perspective, those losses amount to approximately $8 million every single day, and despite these jaw-dropping losses, Cruise still required an additional infusion of $850 million from General Motors in the middle of 2024 just to keep the operation afloat. It was a financial hemorrhage with no end in sight. What made the situation even more perplexing was General Motors' insistence on framing Cruise as a cornerstone of its future strategy. Leadership spoke confidently of a $50 billion revenue stream from Cruise's robo-taxi business by 2030, but the numbers weren't just overly optimistic, they were outright misleading, as the reality of Cruise's performance fell far short of these lofty projections. The financial burden of Cruise didn't just impact General Motors' bottom line, it sent ripples through its broader operations. Every dollar funneled into Cruise was a dollar taken away from other divisions, from research and development to marketing and production. This misallocation of resources raised questions about General Motors' priorities and long-term vision. Was Cruise a bold bet on the future or a reckless gamble that jeopardized the company's stability? The cost of failure. The financial toll of Cruise's collapse extends far beyond the billions already spent. General Motors is now grappling with the consequences of its failed investment, including a massive opportunity cost. In an industry where innovation moves at breakneck speed, the time and resources wasted on Cruise represent a loss that cannot be easily recouped. One of the most glaring consequences is the erosion of investor confidence. Analysts who once touted General Motors as a forward-thinking innovator are now reassessing their positions. A prominent analyst at CFRA recently downgraded General Motors' stock, citing Cruise's failure as a black eye for the company's credibility. Investors who had placed their bets on Cruise's potential are now questioning the automaker's ability to navigate the rapidly evolving landscape of autonomous vehicles. But it's not just investors who are feeling the impact. General Motors employees are also facing the fallout. As the company shifts its focus away from full autonomy, teams dedicated to Cruise's development are left in limbo. Layoffs, restructuring, and uncertainty have become the new reality for those who once worked on what was billed as the future of transportation. For a company that prides itself on innovation and leadership, this is a morale crisis as much as a financial one. The reputational damage to General Motors is equally significant. By pulling the plug on Cruise, the automaker has essentially admitted defeat in a highly competitive space. This retreat undermines its standing as a technology leader, especially when compared to rivals like Tesla and Google's Waymo, which continue to make strides in autonomy. The perception of General Motors as a company willing to take bold risks is now overshadowed by its failure to deliver on those risks. A cautionary tale for investors. For years, General Motors positioned Cruise as a key growth vertical, enticing investors with promises of lucrative returns. The idea was simple. With self-driving cars, General Motors could tap into a multi-trillion-dollar market, dominating the mobility space with a fleet of autonomous vehicles. But as the dream unraveled, the harsh reality of Cruise's performance became impossible to ignore. Investors who bought into the hype are now left holding the bag. The projected $50 billion in annual revenue by 2030 is no longer a feasible target, and the financial losses incurred along the way are staggering. General Motors' decision to shut down Cruise's commercial robotaxi operations is a clear signal that the company no longer sees a path to profitability in this space. This decision has profound implications for the broader investment community. It serves as a stark reminder that even the most promising ventures can falter if they are not grounded in realistic expectations and effective execution. Cruise was supposed to be a game changer, but it has instead become a cautionary tale, a case study in how overambition and poor management can derail even the most well-funded projects. The lesson for investors is clear. Due diligence is critical, especially in industries driven by emerging technologies. The allure of autonomous vehicles is undeniable, but as General Motors has demonstrated, the road to success is fraught with challenges. For those who once viewed Cruise as a golden opportunity, the experience is a sobering reminder of the risks inherent in chasing unproven markets. What happens next? As General Motors grapples with the fallout from Cruise's collapse, the company faces an uncertain future. The decision to fold Cruise's technology into its broader Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, or ADAS, may offer a way to salvage some of the investment, but it's a far cry from the transformative vision initially promised. ADAS technology, which focuses on features like automatic braking and lane-keeping assistance, is valuable, but it lacks the revolutionary potential of fully autonomous vehicles. By pivoting to ADAS, General Motors is effectively conceding that it cannot compete with the likes of Tesla and Waymo in the race for autonomy. This raises an important question. Is General Motors still capable of being an industry leader, or is it destined to play catch-up in a market increasingly dominated by tech-focused competitors? The implications of this shift extend beyond General Motors. The failure of Cruise sends a chilling message to other automakers exploring autonomy. It highlights the immense challenges associated with developing self-driving technology, from regulatory hurdles to public perception and financial viability. As General Motors steps back from the fray, the question remains, who will rise to fill the void? For now, General Motors appears to be focusing on damage control. The company is working to reassure investors, employees, and customers that it remains committed to innovation, but rebuilding trust will take time, and the shadow of Cruise's failure will loom large over the automaker's future endeavors. The decision to abandon robotaxis may save money in the short term, but it also risks leaving General Motors on the sidelines of one of the most transformative shifts in automotive history, the Overpromise Revolution. When General Motors acquired Cruise Automation in 2016, the pitch was nothing short of revolutionary. Cruise's technology was supposed to catapult the automaker to the forefront of the autonomous vehicle race, promising a world where cars could drive themselves with near-perfect precision. Yet, as the years unfolded, the promises began to crumble. Cruise's self-driving vehicles failed to meet expectations, and the much-hyped revolution stalled before it could truly begin. Cruise vehicles consistently struggled with scenarios requiring complex decision-making. For instance, navigating busy urban environments or reacting to unpredictable human behavior, like jaywalkers or sudden lane changes, proved to be monumental challenges. While the technology showed promise in controlled environments, it faltered when faced with the messy realities of real-world driving. This gap between theory and practice exposed the limitations of Cruise's approach and raised questions about whether fully autonomous vehicles are closer to science fiction than reality. Adding to the setbacks was Cruise's reliance on pre-mapped routes. While this approach worked well in theory, it limited the vehicle's flexibility and scalability. Competitors like Tesla, which leverage real-time data from millions of vehicles, were able to adapt to new conditions far more effectively. In contrast, Cruise's vehicles operated like high-tech trains on pre-laid tracks, unable to stray from their mapped paths without risking failure. This inherent limitation made Cruise's system appear outdated, even as it was being billed as cutting edge. Safety concerns and regulatory hurdles. Technology alone wasn't Cruise's only obstacle. The company also faced mounting scrutiny over safety issues, which severely damaged its credibility. The tipping point came in 2023 when a Cruise vehicle in San Francisco struck a pedestrian in a tragic accident. The vehicle failed to react appropriately to the situation, raising alarms about the reliability of Cruise's autonomous systems. The incident sparked a wave of public backlash and regulatory intervention. California's Department of Motor Vehicles swiftly suspended Cruise's license to operate autonomous vehicles on public roads. This regulatory crackdown was a significant blow, effectively halting Cruise's testing program and stalling its progress. For a technology that relies on continuous iteration and data collection, this suspension was a death knell. Without access to public roads, Cruise's ability to refine its systems was severely compromised, leaving it trailing far behind competitors. These safety concerns also had a ripple effect on public perception. Autonomous vehicles already face skepticism from a wary public, and incidents like the San Francisco accident only reinforced fears about their reliability. For General Motors, the reputational damage was immense. The automaker, once seen as a leader in innovation, now found itself on the defensive, struggling to rebuild trust in a market that demands both safety and transparency. A tale of leadership turmoil. Behind the scenes, Cruise's struggles were compounded by leadership turnover and strategic disagreements. The company's initial leader, Dan Ammann, had grand ambitions for Cruise, envisioning a future dominated by robo-taxis. However, his vision clashed with General Motors' more conservative approach. These disagreements came to a head in 2021 when Ammann was unceremoniously ousted, leaving Cruise without a clear direction. Ammann's departure marked the beginning of a period of instability for Cruise. Kyle Vogt, one of Cruise's co-founders, stepped in as CEO, but his tenure was overshadowed by mounting challenges. Under Vogt's leadership, Cruise faced escalating financial losses, regulatory setbacks, and safety scandals. By 2024, Vogt himself stepped down, leaving Cruise in a state of uncertainty. This revolving door of leadership eroded morale and made it difficult for the company to chart a cohesive path forward. The leadership turmoil also highlighted deeper issues within General Motors. The automaker's inability to align its vision for Cruise with its broader strategy underscored a lack of cohesion at the highest levels. Was Cruise meant to be an independent entity charting its own course, or a division tightly integrated into General Motors operations? This ambiguity proved to be a significant hurdle, preventing Cruise from reaching its full potential. Why it matters to you. And as we delve into the failures of Cruise, it's worth considering why this matters to the everyday consumer. After all, most of us aren't in the market for a self-driving car, or are we? The truth is, the fate of Cruise and similar projects has far-reaching implications for the future of transportation and mobility. For starters, autonomous vehicles were supposed to be a game changer for safety. By eliminating human error, which accounts for the vast majority of traffic accidents, self-driving cars promise to save lives and reduce injuries. But incidents like the San Francisco accident cast doubt on whether this vision can be realized. If companies like General Motors can't get it right, what does that say about the viability of autonomous technology as a whole? Then there's the economic impact. The rise of robo-taxis was expected to disrupt the traditional car ownership model, offering affordable, on-demand transportation that could replace private vehicles. For consumers, this could mean lower transportation costs and greater convenience. But with Cruise out of the picture, the timeline for this transformation becomes increasingly uncertain. Finally, the environmental implications cannot be ignored. Autonomous vehicles are often touted as a key component of a sustainable future, optimizing traffic flow and reducing emissions. Yet, without viable technology, these benefits remain hypothetical. For consumers who are counting on innovation to address pressing environmental challenges, the setbacks at Cruise represent a significant disappointment. The ripple effect on investors and partners. The fallout from General Motors' decision to shut down Cruise's robo-taxi division is not confined to the automaker alone. Investors and partners who bought into the vision of autonomous vehicles are now grappling with significant losses. Among them are industry giants like Microsoft, Honda, and SoftBank, all of whom contributed billions of dollars to the project. For Honda, which had invested up to $2,750 million in Cruise, the collapse is a stark reminder of the risks associated with betting on emerging technologies. Honda had hoped to leverage Cruise's advancements to develop its own autonomous capabilities, but now it is left scrambling for alternatives. Similarly, Microsoft's $800 million write-down signals the growing skepticism around the viability of large-scale autonomous projects. Even SoftBank, known for its aggressive investments in tech startups, is staring at losses exceeding $2 billion. These setbacks highlight the precarious nature of investing in unproven technologies. While early-stage investments often carry high risks, the scale of Cruise's failure raises questions about the due diligence and strategic foresight of its backers. For General Motors, the reputational damage extends beyond its role as a manufacturer. It underscores the challenges of delivering on lofty promises in an intensely competitive market. Competitors gaining ground. While General Motors struggles to recover from the Cruise debacle, its competitors are capitalizing on the opportunity. Tesla, with its full self-driving software, is now miles ahead in the race for autonomous dominance. Unlike Cruise, Tesla has adopted a scalable approach, leveraging real-world data from millions of vehicles to refine its technology. This strategy has not only given Tesla a significant head start, but also positioned it as a leader in the eyes of consumers and investors alike. Meanwhile, Google's Waymo is quietly expanding its presence, focusing on cities like Miami and San Francisco. Despite its own financial losses, Waymo's gradual approach and strategic partnerships are paying off as it continues to demonstrate incremental progress in real-world deployments. Smaller players like Comma AI are also making waves, showcasing innovative solutions that challenge the dominance of larger firms. By focusing on affordability and accessibility, these companies are carving out their niches in a market once dominated by tech giants. For General Motors, the success of these competitors serves as a stark contrast to its own struggles. The company's decision to pivot away from robo-taxis in favor of advanced driver assistance systems may offer short-term cost savings, but it risks leaving General Motors behind in the long-term race for innovation. As competitors continue to push the boundaries of what autonomous technology can achieve, General Motors faces an uphill battle to regain its footing. The bigger picture. The collapse of Cruise's robo-taxi ambitions is not just a corporate failure, it's a cautionary tale for the entire automotive industry. For consumers, this means the dream of affordable, on-demand autonomous transportation is further away than ever. The promise of safer roads, reduced traffic, and lower transportation costs remains unfulfilled, leaving everyday drivers reliant on traditional vehicles. Moreover, the environmental benefits touted by autonomous technology, such as optimized traffic flow and reduced emissions, are now delayed. In a world grappling with climate change, this is a setback we can ill afford. For consumers who have been waiting for technology to drive meaningful change, the fallout at General Motors is a sobering reminder of the challenges involved in turning ambitious ideas into reality. On a more immediate level, the shift away from autonomous vehicles may also impact the features available in the next generation of cars. With resources redirected to ADAS, consumers may see incremental improvements in safety features like lane keeping assistance and adaptive cruise control. However, these advancements pale in comparison to the transformative potential of full autonomy, leaving many to wonder if automakers are settling for mediocrity. A glimmer of hope or the end of the road? Despite the setbacks, General Motors' decision to fold Cruise into its broader operations may not be the end of the road. By focusing on integrating autonomous technology into personal vehicles, the company could find a way to salvage its investment and rebuild trust with consumers. But this strategy comes with significant risks. The ADAS market is highly competitive, with established players like Tesla and Mercedes-Benz already offering advanced systems that set the bar high. If General Motors hopes to remain relevant, it will need to do more than play catch-up. The company must demonstrate that it can innovate in meaningful ways, whether by developing unique features that enhance the driving experience or by exploring partnerships that leverage existing expertise. One such possibility is licensing Tesla's full self-driving technology, a move that would not only accelerate General Motors' progress, but also position it as a forward-thinking player willing to adapt to industry trends. However, the clock is ticking. As the gap between leaders like Tesla and the rest of the industry widens, the window of opportunity for General Motors is rapidly closing. The company's next moves will determine whether it can reclaim its position as an innovator or fade into obscurity as a cautionary tale of missed potential. Now it's your turn. What do you think about General Motors' decision to abandon its robo-taxi dreams? Is this a strategic retreat that will allow the company to refocus on its core strengths, or is it a sign of deeper issues within the automaker? Do you believe Tesla and Waymo will dominate the autonomous vehicle industry, or is there still room for other players to emerge? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more in-depth analyses of the latest developments in the automotive world. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.